The Fed says it's too early to declare victory on inflation. You think? What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, November the 12th. And first of all, happy Veterans Day, although it was yesterday, to all of the veterans, families of, and those currently serving. As you know, I appreciate you every single day, and I salute you and hope that it was a good holiday for you. But of course, I think about you every day, and I think that if our people would do that more often, we'd probably be in a hell of a lot better shape than we are right now. But we've got a Federal Reserve that is loaded and filled with morons that actually think that they've helped us on inflation when we're paying 53% more for fuel, we're paying 20% more for groceries, and we're making about 10% less. Not a good mix. It doesn't sound like that's a very good plan to me. And of course, our wonderful president says that people are unhappy because of the media. Is that the same media that continues to paint you in a good light and has basically kept you out of jail, which is where you belong? It's a wonderful question that we should be asking ourselves. If the name was Trump instead of Biden, wouldn't the Trump boys and President Trump be in jail or under investigation or under indictment? Oh, they are. But of course, Biden's are as clean as a whistle. And of course, who would think that President Biden has done anything wrong? I mean, after all, him and his wife Jill have earned $6 million in their lives, and they've got a net worth of over $150 million. Sounds kind of interesting to me. But we've got, look, we have regulatory bodies that have no idea, no clue, and are not, their best interest does not lie with you. Okay. I mean, they do not protect the investor. They protect the brokerage firm. They protect the big money, not the little money in which they are supposed to be protecting. It is interesting. I mean, and as you watch your Federal Reserve with 18 speeches last week out talking. Now, why are they talking so much? Well, they're trying to find out what they can get away with next as they move forward. I mean, this is not child's play. This is pretty easy to figure out what they're doing. I mean, let's take a look at it. As Americans continue to ransack their retirement savings, and we're building an economy based on MasterCard and Visa, it doesn't sound like we're really doing a hell of a lot of planning for the future. But of course, again, when you have a government in place that has no regard for what's going to happen in the future, that has no plan on how to fix some of the issues or problems that they say that we have, and I would argue the fact of climate change and the rest of the bullshit that they feed out there, because again, suddenly over the last 6 months, the entire climate accord is falling apart, and almost every major nation has pulled out of it. The EV market is collapsing. So what does that tell you about what the true beliefs are of people? What does it tell you about what your government is doing for you as they force you to do things that do not make sense and are really not to your best interest, but to theirs? I mean, just this last bill that just passed, if you didn't know, had another raise in for Congress of $34,000. So that is now 3 raises in the last 3 years. And these aren't the raises that you and I would get, which is, 5% or 2%. These are dramatic raises. And of course, why not take a raise? You have the sucker American taxpayer to pay the bill. So why not take the raise? And of course, at the same time Congress is taking raises, Americans now are $17 trillion in delinquent debt. 17 trillion in delinquent debt. And of course, we don't care about what's going on in Israel. Okay, you've got those that don't want our number one ally to survive, which is unbelievable in its own right. And of course, that includes the President of the United States. You've got now have the threat of a possible cyber 9/11 attack. And of course, here we are watching some ridiculous battles in our political environment. And it doesn't matter whether you be a Republican or Democrat. Neither party is looking out for you. And we now have Rand Paul, who's now taking over for his father, and talking about ending the Fed. And of course, the Fed should be ended. The Fed is almost a cartel, okay, which is really designed on taking you and relieving you of your cash. Okay. At the same time, the People's Bank of China has bought another 600 tons of gold. Okay. You don't think they're preparing for something? Okay. As they now have unveiled their new robot person, okay, human-like robots as their new engine of growth. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of things happening on that are not to our benefit, including the continued funding to Ukraine. Okay, you've got reports of zombie EV sales. Again, if you look at the companies, they're not making money; they are collapsing, and I think that again we go back into this situation, okay, of what is the true goal of government, of what are they trying to do, okay? As we know, government creates nothing, okay? They do create debt, okay? But why are we allowing them to spend so much money so ridiculously when, we should be worried about taking care of Americans first? We should be locking down the borders. You now have the sanctuary cities that are complaining and need more money to continue to keep these animals, these criminals, these drug dealers, okay, in their cities, because that's why they had to be sanctuary cities, because the people weren't supposed to be there in the first place. So why are we allowing our funds and our money to be used by the corrupt that continue to violate everything of what the United States is all about? Okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's really starting to be pretty frustrating as you watch the downturn in luxury items being bought. And of course, we're coming into Christmas, which should be interesting because I don't know where people are going to get the money from. And of course, you see now suddenly cryptocurrencies are back in vogue again. As we've told you many times here, and again, it's not an I told you so, it is something to remember that the weakness of government, the weakness of the central banking system, their ability to fleece people around the globe, and of course in our place, the Americans, is now coming more to roost, and we are now seeing more of an issue when it comes to this. And of course, let's not talk about that Hunter Biden lied to the IRS and tried to scramble to get his 2020 return fixed up. I mean, why is it that he is not in jail? Can anybody explain that to me? Okay, that Hunter Biden is running around as a free man when he should be in jail. Of course, so should the rest of his family, but that's a story for another day. But again, we continue to watch and see the destruction, brick by brick, of the United States of America. And if one more person tells me that this is the greatest country in the world, I will tell you that if we were the greatest country in the world, we would be continuing to advance past everybody else and not allowing and facilitating everybody to catch up to who we are. Think about it that way the next time you look at it. And think about it next time you go to the voting booth. If you're happy paying all of these extra tax dollars that go to line the pockets of politicians, that go to the Ukraine war, that go to places that you wouldn't want it to go to, if you were given the choice. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horwitz on this day after Veterans Day. And once again, we thank you, veterans, and your families, and salute you for your service. In the meantime, we're going to step out here for a break, and we're going to come back with our market report after the break. What's up, kids, on this Veterans Day weekend? Of course, as you know, we have sponsors who sponsor the show, and obviously we use brokers as sponsors, and because, of course, our businesses are very closely linked. And, I have many brokers, to give you full disclosure, but I do have two that I prefer to share with you at all times. And that, of course, is Capital Trading Group, which is our partner in a couple of different products, but also has some of the best service in the industry, which, again, if you've ever had an investment, that you needed help on, and you tried to call somebody, nobody answers the phone. You get stuck in, as they call it, the voicemail jail. But Capital Trading Group, unbelievable, great service. Check them out, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. Listen, there's no obligation. All I want to do is make available to my people, okay, something that will help them to be better and better what they're trying to do. And of course, our other brokerage partner is Tradier for equities and options. And listen, the first thing is they're $10 a month, okay? So they save me $100,000 a year in commission. But they have great service. Our software is compatible with their program. Okay, if you're in the equity portfolios, there's no charge to the software. If you're a hedger, then of course you can license out the software to have the hedging done automatically. In fact, we did a webinar yesterday, okay, on hedging, and of course, would love to see you as a part of it, because again, it's something that will allow you to stay in the market and help compound your portfolio. But in the meantime, go to Tradier, try.tradier.com/Bubba. And both of them are scrolling along the sides here. And of course, our high school program, which we're getting the opportunity to rebuild it. Okay. And we'd love to see you a part. And of course, that's what we look for, a little financial help through Patreon, but check it out. It's scrolling across the bottom. Let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and our market commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, November the 12th. And of course, happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day weekend to all the veterans, the families of, and of course, even current active military. We thank you. Look, again, it's because of you that I get to do what I like to do. And I can never give you enough of my appreciation, but I can't always say thank you and thank you for your service. Last week, one of the biggest weeks in many, many years, once again, we continue to see an attempt at a rally. And listen, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think if you look at it from a fundamental standpoint, which we don't, we're price action trading, and as you know, we're long. But again, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, what's going on here? We've got some major issues, but you continue to hide and put your head in the sand. That is not a surprise. It happens all the time. But in the meantime, in the major indices, we are still long: the Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Russell. And of course, they are still, the Russell is the weakest, but we're still seeing some gains. And we are long across the board in the dollar index, which we don't trade it anymore. And it's only because of the cost of dealing with COMEX, not because we're worried about the dollar. We would be short, and it was lower for the week. The euro currency, which we reversed to long, was higher for the week. And again, I'm not a big fan. I think the euro currency is going to collapse at some point. But remember, what I think is going to happen 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now has nothing to do with making money today. Okay, Bitcoin had another big week as it continues to explode higher, and that is telling you something that I think people are getting sick and tired of: the government central banking control around the globe of their currency and what their effect is. But we continue to be long. The bonds and notes were kind of whippy during the week. We're long bonds and notes now. They had we'll call it a flattish week, but I still think they're going to collapse, even though we're long. I think interest rates are going much higher. The Fed keeps talking some stupid ass story, which is not correct. Number one. Number two, they're going to have to continue to hike rates, and that is not going to be good for the notes and the bonds. The metals, we're going to reverse tonight. Gold to short. Now, it's not that I don't like gold. Again, it's one thing to play the trend, and it's another thing to have a long-term purview. And again, of course, I own gold always. But it doesn't mean that I won't trade it from the short side during that, which will either short it tonight or tomorrow, depending on that'll be up to you who partakes in it. But it looks like it's peaked temporarily. Still an outside chance we'll make new highs in silver, which we're still long. And of course, I don't think silver looks very good either. But I do, again, I am a big fan of all in platinum, which is, believe it or not, now down under 850, which is ridiculous. But again, it is what it is. That's the price. Okay, we don't trade it anymore because it's not liquid enough for us, but we certainly would be shorted here. Copper, we are still short, continues to head south. In the natural gas, we continue to be short. It continues to go lower. Crude oil, we continue to be short. It continues to go lower. And you can bet that, maybe even as soon as tonight, that Saudi Arabia and OPEC are going to cut production and, trying to drive these prices higher once again, which is, again, what we would expect. But in the grain markets, they look tough. I mean, corn is lower, and soybeans that were long corn and long beans, and short wheat still. I do think that they have found the bottoms. It doesn't mean they're going straight up, but I do think, even with last week's WASDE report, remember that there's already some talk of a shortage of food and in the supply chain, and it's not going to be good if we really punish farmers and they decide not to plant next year. So I would look for higher prices there. As we've been telling you all along, the cattle markets are breaking and they're starting to break hard. Now in what would be considered bear markets, down 12% from their all-time highs. Again, look, there's in commodities, high prices will cure high prices, low prices will cure low prices. And it looks to me that they're headed downwards. Hogs, pork looks to be going upwards, and of course it makes sense, right? The next protein down the line that people are going to eat or use it's beef, hogs, beef, pork, and then poultry. In the softs, cocoa continues to move higher. We're still long. Sugar continues to move higher, along with coffee. We're still long. OJ, we reversed to the short side, and cotton, we are also still short, which again, I think that at some point cotton's going to become a buy here as well. But I think you have to look at it from a reality standpoint and understand markets, and trading in the short term has nothing to do with a long-term position. And we know that equity markets go up 8 to 10% year over year for history. So it pays to be long if you're going to hold investments. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horowitz. It is Sunday, November the 12th. We're going to step out here for our final break and come back with, of course, my commentary and, of course, my football picks. We'll be right back after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, kids, I'm not going to go through the whole speech. Just to tell you, excuse me, that we have a couple of brokerage partners, which, again, I'm not telling you to sign up with them. I'm not telling you not to use them. I'm telling you to check them out because, A, I have vetted them. B, I use them myself. Okay, and C, they are in very much in sync with me, Bubba Trading, and of course Target Trading. But it's Capital Trading Group, which is their website is on the side, and Target Trading, and Trade Your Brokerage, which is also on the side, and of course our high school program, which is on the bottom. And again, look, these are things that I'm trying to make things better for you. It's as simple as that. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But you should check it out. Use what they call due diligence and make sure that you're getting the best for you and your family. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top of Horse. We're going to come right back and now go into our commentary for the week. Welcome back. As you know, it is Veterans Day weekend. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and I think when we look at this country, when we look at the disaster that is being created, when we look at our leadership and the hatred that we have, our military is very valuable and they've really done a lot of damage to our military, but we have to take the time to thank all of our veterans, the families that served, that have lost loved ones as veterans, and of course, even active duty. I mean, you're going to be a veteran at some point. And, we don't do enough for our soldiers, and we certainly don't do enough to put them in the best position to take care of this country when you have too many of our politicians giving away dollars and really bringing on unrest around the globe So to all of the military, to all of my public servants, to all of you who have served this country, I thank you, I salute you, and I can never appreciate more what you've done for all of us, but obviously myself and my family. I thank you, and again, you have my thoughts and prayers every day, but it is Veterans Day weekend, so I thank you extra special today. And of course, it is football. It's a football Sunday. We like 3 games today. We like, believe it or not, 3 dog teams, but the New England Patriots, +2, the Pittsburgh Steelers, -3, and the New York Football Jets at a pick'em. Make those plays and go hide somewhere. Don't watch the games. It'd be disgusting. In the meantime, happy Veterans Day to all my veterans and their families. And as always, I thank you. Bubba's Bottom Line, Sunday, November the 12th. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later.